Welcome back to Noviland, happiest place in middle Kentucky that no one ever heard of. And this is another story that I'll put under the banner Gin Manifestation Stories. In 2009, I had an interesting time in my life. Things really weren't going my way. I had no money. I had lost my job almost a year before, had been going to every interview. I wasn't giving up, I just wasn't having success. I kept going to interviews, I kept looking for work. Somehow I was able to do enough to make ends meet, but it wasn't pretty. And at that time, I just needed a job. I needed something steady, and I was willing to take a lot of different types of jobs. Nothing was really working out, and in March 2009, just about 16 years ago, I received a letter. This letter was from someone who I had bought a book from a few years back on personal development, and it was one of those long form letters, about 5 or 10 pages, and at the end, you could buy this book, and I did, and I got my value out of it. So in 2009, I'm receiving a similar letter from the same guy, long form, and at the end, it talks about a CD course, and I decided, yeah, I think I'd like to do this. Well, part of it says, if this is your last $300, you need this more than anybody. It was good advertising because it pretty much was my last $300, and I was already at a point in my life where I had decided I was going to do whatever it took to change. Whatever it takes. Sometimes you just got to do whatever it takes. Well, this was one of those times, and so I did. I got the CD course just as advertised, and it was amazing. I remember listening to this, and I got to about disc 5 of this particular CD course, and it starts talking about something called law of attraction, which I never heard of before. I kind of heard it in the back of my head. I thought it was some kind of dating scam from Oprah or something like that, but I didn't really know what it was. Well, anyways, I thought, okay, this is interesting, but it was about that point where it really started getting into the details of how this all worked. And sometimes when you're listening to someone and you just know in your gut, this is truth. This is actually real. This person is not BSing me. This person is telling me what they've done and actually works for them. You kind of get a feeling if it's just an ad, if it's just something that they want you to do and they don't really believe in, you get that feeling. Well, I got this feeling in my gut. This was absolute truth. And I had nothing to lose anyways if it wasn't. So what the heck? And I tried to implement this training. Well, I listened to this whole 12 to 14 CDs, somewhere in there. I think 13 and 14 were extra CDs. But I tried to implement this whole course immediately. It took me 2 days to listen to this course because I was out of work and I had time to do so. So I implemented this, and within 2 weeks, all these temp agencies that wouldn't call me back, all of them were calling me and saying, "Yeah, I got temp jobs. I might have temp to perm. I think I have something for you." Great. Well, at the same time, my parents had been running this family business, and they'd been running it for years. They'd kind of downsized it, and they were in their 60s by this point. They didn't really want to keep doing this. They wanted to retire, and they weren't really sure how to quite do that. And it just so happened that things were going well enough in the business. At that point, they turned to me and says, "Oh, well, would you like a job? Things are going a little better for us in the business." Great. I said, "Absolutely. Of course I'm going to take it. I needed a job. And plus, I get to work for my parents. I could bring my dog to work. That was even better." Had a beautiful dog at that time. Well, I started doing that. I was implementing it. Things seemed like they were going a little better. And after about 2 months of running this, I kind of looked at my parents and said, "Hey, you know, this is a really good deal for me. And I know you guys don't really want to do this. So why don't I just take over your business? You guys draw whatever salary you need. I just need enough to live on while I figure out all these other things that are going on in my life get my act together. So they went for it. And 2 months after I got these CDs with no job, no prospects, nothing really going in my right, nothing, pardon me, nothing really going my way, I had a business and I had a profitable business. And suddenly the money concerns were I just didn't have them. I wasn't getting rich. I was just getting enough, plus a little bit more. So, maybe I can go hang out with my friends or go camping once in a while, some small things, but it was worth it. And absolutely, that was one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. That decision led to so many more wonderful things that occurred in my life. And sometimes when things aren't going well and you have these opportunities, say yes to the opportunity. Even if you can't do it and if it doesn't work out, okay, well then you learn something, but you never know. You only have to be right once on these things. And just that one time where I made the decision, I'm going to do this. $300 more wasn't going to save me at that point. And I had absolutely nothing to lose. Sometimes when you have absolutely nothing to lose and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired and things aren't going, that's when you're the most teachable. That's when you're ready to take the real action and make the changes that you need. I did it. I can't say everything is perfect, but I've had some amazing adventures and I've seen places. I've gone on trips around the world. I've met amazing people. And so many wonderful things happen because I made that decision in 2009. If I hadn't made that decision in 2009, I have no idea where my life would be. But it probably wouldn't be in as good a place as I am now. I probably wouldn't be living in this beautiful place, loving my life that I am now. So this was my story. I hope everyone is well. I really do wish you were here. It's another beautiful day in paradise from Noviland. Have a wonderful day.